Man, I mean, did you see this? NERDSoul. Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta, holding it down, bringing the street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people, today? Oh yeah, coming together for another wonderful episode of Thumbnails. That's right, that's animated content, and I can't wait to get into this. It's been a while. I figure you guys have seen it by now, hopefully, because we are about to spoil the heck out of Castlevania. And after season 1, it was really promising. I was digging exactly what they were doing. They were definitely going for the action, the gore, the violence, the horror aspect of, living at that time under Dracula. And when we pick up here, I do like the look at just the doctor herself, how Mrs. Tepes, lives her life, and how merciful she was, and how giving and warm she was, because that really informs a lot on Alucard and also Dracula. For him to be enamored, for him to fall in love with someone like that, especially being the kind of man he is, the things he's done, definitely shows that it's not all just for bloodlust. It's not all because he's crazy, but there is a woman there that she's loving, she's forgiving, and giving. She's merciful, and she cares about people. And she's someone who wants to help, that wants to serve people, to do something for people, to bring other people along in health, using her skills, her talents. And I think that shows a lot about her and also about the people in her life. But I want to stop with that for a second and talk about the character design, because we got some new generals in this show, basically generals up under Dracula. I do like how we got looks and styles and, kind of like angles of attitude, of characteristics, of characterism of these different people from different, areas around the world. You have vampires that look like they were, from North Africa or ancient Egypt, from, maybe like China or like somewhere in Asia. You also have Godbrand, and we'll get into him, but you have these different distinct looks, also different distinct talents. All of the vampires aren't just, I guess like rabid wolves or something just running around scratching people. They all have different ways of fighting, different ways of attacking, and it showed that they could have just made them mindless drones. And when they fight, sometimes they are kind of like nameless. Well, literally they're kind of nameless, but they gave, kind of like that little oomph to give them their own flavor, their own look, their own design, and their own style. So I thought that was kind of cool. Now, stepping off of that into Godbrand. First, I got to give him props. I like the voice acting of this character. I really do. Crazy, outlandish as it is, but I think it's a great counterbalance to the very subdued, very mild-mannered, to a certain degree, Dracula. And even up to the point where Godbrand gets straight up handled by your boy Isaac. He definitely has this kind of just arrogant bravado about him. And even when you see his little flashback, his fight scenes is crazy. So it's not that he doesn't have talent. It's not that the boy can't, throw them bows a little bit, but just his over accentuated self-importance, I guess, and also just his man baby whining sometimes about like, I want to kill the humans, I want blood. Because when you see his flashback, a lot of times he's just killing to kill. He's not even like killing because like, I gotta eat. He's just like just straight killing just because. He's just like slashing people, cutting off heads, crushing people. So Godbrand is that type of guy. And sliding into the further generals with the Forge Masters, who are Isaac and Hector, we get to see another side of, I guess, the court of Dracula. These two humans have decided to align themselves with Dracula. And the thing that I like about these two humans is that you see how sort of, I guess you could say, lend your disbelief into, what, they've gone through this or they've gone through that. And it makes sense to a certain way you know, to a certain point that they would align themselves with Dracula due to what they've gone through. On Hector's hand, he's always seen, you know, like pets and small animals being kind of, I guess, mistreated by humans. He's always wanted to help them, revive them. Then you've seen Isaac, who has always himself been mistreated by humans. So you have these two people that have seen the worst of humanity. And at the, I guess, at the lowest point or the best point in time for them, Dracula kind of introduces himself and they make their alliance. Of course, we see Hector go on to super betray, you know, Dracula and all that, and he gets his, and we'll talk about him with Camilla after the jump. But Isaac, I really dig because he is so devoted, and even though he doesn't say much, he means a lot. For instance, all those trials and tribulations he went through with like the people that he used to live with, or the folks that, you know, were his foster parents or whatever, or, you know, he was like their I guess helper or farmer or slave or whatever he was. And they mistreated him, other people beat him around and stuff. And now to be up under Dracula and given the position that he's been given, he is super, not only loyal, but also in a weird position where they're almost friends, because they even refer to each other as friends. So that's something that I thought was very interesting about their relationship, about how they, I guess, addressed each other. And don't sleep. Godbrand tried to, you know, go a little too far, just a little too far. And Isaac pulled that cap, son. Pulled that cap back. He was not playing with Godbrand. And I was surprised to see a human be able to overpower a vampire, especially after seeing Godbrand, you know, is not weak. He's not like this sniveling guy. He is definitely capable of, I guess, protecting himself. But man, when Isaac get the drop on you, he gets the drop on you. Now, we got tons of stuff to get into, especially like Camilla after the jump. But first, KURO Brand's gonna help us pay them bills. Oh yeah, check the link below, hats, shirts, hoodies, all that jazz. And once you find something you like, of course, cop it. Now, I wanna get into most of the crazier folks, and crazy in a good way. I wanna talk about, it's crazy, but Alucard, Trevor, Sypha. A weird team up, but an interesting team up. We see them really build their relationship and form their team, form their friendship kind of on the move until they get to Trevor's like family, you know, library or whatever. And it's nice to see them slowly get used to each other. This is something that I did not expect to get in this show. I didn't expect them to kind of show the things bubbling up the way they did, because we got things bubbling up in the castle, and then we got things bubbling up at Trevor's spot. And seeing Trevor and Alucard going back and forth, Sypha being kind of in the middle, and then, you know, kind of going to each side and being like, look, you tripping, yeah, and also you tripping. And not only them learning about the past, learning about Trevor's family, we get a lot of character growth. We get a lot of growth in Trevor being able to like say, you know what? There's still a Belmont here. I am a Belmont. I'm taking up the mantle. You know, I am not going to be like just some random drunk anymore. And we also get to see Alucard say, you know what? Yes, this is my family lineage, and I'm the only one I have to be the one that stops it. I can't run from this anymore. I'm gonna stick with this team, even though I'm not too pleased with these guys, you know. But you also have Sypha, who was able to step out of her comfort zone. You know, she was with the speakers, and now she's out here with these two dudes battling random night creatures, and she stepped out of her comfort zone as well. So we see all of these people growing, and not only do they grow as a team, but they also get a nice camaraderie that I thought was nice for the show. Now we'll get back to them in a second, but I do want to talk about Camilla. Boy, no matter what vampire lore you watch, whether it's, you know, like, I don't know, Vampire Hunter D or, you know, Hellsing or whatever it is, Carmella whether it's written, comic books, animated, Carmella is always sneaky. She's always underhanded, and she's got a true bloodlust. And I like how they showed it here, man. I do. I really like how they depicted her cunning, her manipulations on Hector, and how she got him to turn and make, forge stuff for her so they could get them to Brayla. And even how she turned on him after she was like, well, Dracula dead, so you mine now. You know what I'm saying? Had him walking behind the horse and everything. She is just, she is a cancer. She is a cancerous snake, because Dracula, honestly, he knew what Carmella was up to, but I assume that Dracula was probably like, look, it doesn't really matter. I'm a shell of my former self. I've lost the love of my life. I'm on a suicide run maybe, but she is not to be trusted. And, the whole thing with, her wanting to take over and attack, it was actually a pretty decent plan. I mean, the joint worked. The holy water in the ocean or whatever, it really did come through in a way where I was like, wow. So she did more than just think, hey, we're just gonna run up in the castle. Like, she thought this out in a very, very convincing way. And even though it's good, even though her character design is good, even though her voice acting was good, she's still bad. Don't ever, 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 ever trust Carmella. So lastly, I want to touch on your boy, Dracula. This story in season 2 really shows a weight of grief that is on this man. What he's going to, a lot of people say, he's bored, he's uninterested, he's already died or whatever, but you do see someone who is just kind of racked with grief. He's done with all of this. He's not interested in what the generals really want to do. He's not super interested in what his forge masters are doing. He's kind of just like, I want to kill humans because I want to get my revenge. And I think even he is wise enough to know that humans are not, whether you kill every last human or they're all alive, it's not going to fix it. It's not going to bring that feeling back. It's not going to give you joy. And that's why we see him in much of this show just slumped in the chair. And I like how we display how grief isn't just something that's, that just happens to the poorest of, the poorest of character developed people, or the happiest characters. But there might be some people that are essentially bad guys, but still go through grief, are just riddled with pain and depression inside. And he is a shell of his former self. You do see Carmella fire him up when she you got us out here fighting for your wife and why you ain't turn her. But for the most part, dude is just in the chair, and you see someone that sees the end of their life and is still so hurt, touched by so much pain that they're just disinterested. And you can see a lot of that pain when him and Alucard finally have their moment in Alucard's bedroom. When just that family vibe comes together, when they see the picture of themselves. That grief is something that I didn't expect to see in this show, but I'm very glad that we got, because it really informs on Alucard, informs on Dracula, and informs us on what they lost, which brings me back to the beginning of this show where we were talking about just how she affected both of them and changed their lives. Now, with all that said, I had a ball with this show. I love the characters. I really enjoyed it. But let's get into that animation, because this show had that action. Yeah, that's right. We talking about action. The fight scenes in this joint did not disappoint. They had you wait a little bit, but they delivered. They delivered in spades. And seeing, of course, your boy Trevor, your boy Alucard, Sypha, working together, attacking these, different night creatures, even taking down the vampires, having the new whip, and I cannot remember the name of it, it escapes me right now, but Trevor holds it down at his place of being like, I guess, the first and last line of defense. And then when they get together at the castle, even more so, where it's just incredible. And I know a lot of people are saying like, hey, the animation is cheap at times, or they're cutting corners. And yes, they definitely do cut their corners, but I'm not as mad, and I don't really remark on it, because they cut those corners to make sure that they can give us this level of action. You know what I mean? They have a certain budget, they got to follow the budget. But if you're gonna have us like, all right, we're gonna just do some sit down talk scenes so that when we get the action scene, this joint could be straight future flavor, then I'm happy with it, yo. The action was on point. They straight crushed it. Just blood and cool stuff everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It really showed how dope Trevor is, man. Trevor, he leveled up, man. Belmont repping. They doing their thing. So guys, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you. Down in them comments, let's talk about Castlevania Season 2. I had a ball. I really enjoyed it. Hope you did too. And until then, I'm going to tell you guys to holla at thatnerdsoul.com. That's right. Check me out right there. All my videos from the oldest, newest, latest, greatest, and all that. Then hit up shop.thatnerdsoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt, player. Don't forget to get one for them players. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that Nerd Soul. That's right. There's no better way that I can show people that you like what you are watching. So, LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And please be good to yourselves. Please be good to each other. And remember, if you see a brother getting this drink on at an Oasis, just leave him alone. Peace.